Hello everybody, Abbott's brother here. And today we're going to be taking a look at the performance of Horizon Zero Dawn on my FX-8320e and RX 480 system. And you can see on screen the system specs here. So this one was a bit of an interesting go at it. So game mode run, mango head command, and we're running Proton 9.0-4. I had somebody comment under one of my videos like, oh, I'm using Mint. Mint is terrible for gaming, and you're using the wrong kernel, you're using the wrong Proton. Everybody knows you got to use Proton GE. It's like, well, I use the most recent non-beta version of Proton. At the moment, it is 9.0-4. Version 10 is down here. It's still in beta. When it exits beta, I will start using that. I do this primarily for stability reasons. I think while Linux has vastly improved, stability remains a dodgy issue. Primarily because to get the greatest compatibility, a lot of people are running beta versions of stuff, or experimental versions like Proton Experimental. Sometimes you have to use beta or experimental versions of software in order to get things to work, because that's where the changes are rolled out fastest. So I get that, but for the stuff that I'm testing, I always try to use non-beta stuff as much as possible, just because to me that's the most reliable. That's how you get the most reliable results. Anyway, Horizon Zero Dawn. So we're at 1080p, and you can't turn off the frame cap, so it's at 120 FPS. So this RX 480 does have 8 GB of video memory, so we won't be limited by that. But I am using this is basically the favor performance preset with motion blur turned off and TAA. Because by default FX-AA is selected here. So we're just going to run the benchmark. Thank you. So anyway, back to the earlier point. Linux Mint is just fine for gaming. It's as good as any other Ubuntu-based distro. If you're going to be on the cutting edge, you probably want to be on Arch, but that's the thing. When you're using a Radeon GPU, at this point, the Radeon GPU's driver is fairly mature, especially for older hardware like the RX 480. So one of the things you're going to see in this performance here is a little bit of CPU bottlenecking. So you can see we're hovering about 60-65 FPS right now, but the GPU keeps dipping well down, and it's definitely performing lower. Now, RAM is not an issue. I know on Windows this game likes to chew up a good bit of RAM. I've seen it system usage has spiked. I've seen it spike to 12 to 14 gigabytes. That must be a Windows thing. But here, you can see we're running pretty reliably around 5.5 to 6 gigs of RAM, so it seems like it's going pretty well there. I mean, the VRAM usage, maybe that's the key here. If you try to use a GPU with 4 gigabytes of VRAM, it's going to spill over into the system RAM, so system RAM usage would be higher. But since we have the 8 gigabytes of VRAM, we are all good. We're using about 6 gigs. This is the original version of Horizon Zero Dawn, by the way. And it's like, oh, why am I not testing the remaster version? Because I don't believe in paying a second time for a game I already own. If they had given me the remastered version for free, I would absolutely be testing it, but I'm not spending $10 to buy a game I literally already own. I'm getting nothing out of it except access to the remastered version, and the original version looks fine. The only reason I would rebuy something is if it appears on GOG. And I already have this on GOG, so the same argument would apply there anyway. That was a great day when Horizon Zero Dawn showed up on GOG. I am seeing what looks like a little bit of stutter too as we go through. Like the scrolling, the fly-through isn't completely smooth. I think that's because of the uncapped frame rate. When I cap it at 60, it is smooth pretty much. But you're going to see some of the CPU limitations. After I finish the benchmark, I am going to load into the game. And I'm actually right outside Meridian here. And I'm going to show you exactly how the CPU does limit performance a little bit. And I will show you with capped frame rate. I'm going to go in uncapped first, and then I'm going to cap it. But yeah, I'm just going to run around. The plan for this video is I'm going to run around Meridian a little bit, and then I'll turn around, run out, and head to the countryside. Because once we're out in the countryside, it's fine. It's just all the NPCs in the populated area. Looks like a pretty good result. 67 FPS, but I swear the RX 480 can do more. Alright, so just to show you one more time, in case I cut into the video here, 1080p, no FSR, and this is the favor performance preset with motion blur off and TAA instead of FX-AA. It's possible... Where is the FSR? The FSR in this is... it's version 1, so it's not very good, but you could definitely go to FSR Ultra Quality on version 1 if you wanted to get some deinterlacing. But even at that upscaling, it's going to look a little blurry. Okay, so we're about the 70s here. I think we have some CPU bottlenecking, but it's not too bad. You can see the GPU usage dips quite a bit. Now I'm going to run across this bridge, and we should see some stutters here. Just like we just saw. It dipped to about 48. Oh, there you go. And now we turn over here and it's fine. So what I think is happening here is the, right now, just standing here, to the right was what you call, culled, distance culled. So since it's not appearing on the screen, it's simply not rendered. So when I turn the screen, turn the mouse like that, all those objects, distant objects and far objects have to load in, and it's a whole bunch of additional NPCs and objects, and that's an additional load on the CPU, and the CPU is already pushed pretty hard generally in this game, and the CPU bottlenecks while it renders loads those new objects into memory, and then it goes back up. That's why we can pan over here now without any issue. But we're going to see the same thing happen as we head into the city here. We'll see should see some dips down. Let's see. We'll see if it happens, but you should see some dips down, I'd say, into the 40s as new things get loaded in. Yep, there we are. So new stuff got loaded in the distance. Here it goes again, down to 42, but it goes back up pretty fast. It is installed on a solid-state drive. It's a SATA 3 drive. It's nothing special. There was 25, 26. And now everything is loaded in. You can't even see... I don't think you even can see all the stuff loading. Oh, there it is. The lighting just loaded in. So yeah, I think this is a... this is definitely a CPU bottleneck. I'll be interested to try this out on the GTX 1060 system that I have with a i7-4790. It's kind of weird. The two systems, this system with the FX-8320e and RX 480 is actually very well balanced versus the i7 and GTX 1060 because NVIDIA's Linux driver introduces a CPU bottleneck. Oh, that's very low. But we are not out of RAM and we're not out of VRAM. So this is quite literally, I'm pretty sure, new objects being loaded in the background. And this is a limitation of the FX system. Because literally no other component in our system is loaded to the max. We've got plenty of capacities otherwise available. It's just all the NPCs in Meridian, and the game and the CPU has to process the logic of running all these NPCs. And stuff's loading in, and then it loads in. I think, like I said earlier, I think I could play it like this, but this problem is persistent across cities and wildernesses, so it's going to keep happening. And to me, that if you're making do with an 8-core FX chip, I don't think you should run this with a 6-core FX chip. I don't think it would go well, obviously. We're spending a lot of time between 70 and 90% usage. A 6-core chip would be absolutely maxed. But if you're making do with an 8-core FX, I think I could play it like this for sure. I'd probably lock the frames to 30. What if I do that? Let's see if I get a drop. Oh, no, you can take the FPS off. I didn't know that. Okay, now we're at a very console cinematic 30 FPS. But the frame rate shouldn't drop anymore because it was almost never dropping under 30. It did once or twice. And you just saw a stutter there. Can I get up there? Oh, wood. Need wood. Wood. Ah, yes, the yellow paint. Oh, right. Yeah, so locking to 30 kind of works. Yeah, that's smooth in my book. This would work. Is it preferable? No. Drop. Thank you. Oh. Nope, not hanging around. Go. Alright, we've got a 30 FPS lock here. Let's try a 60 FPS lock. But I don't think it's going to work quite as easily. I think we're going to have some dips here. Of course, it looks and plays so much better at 60 FPS. Oh, there it is. Yep, you saw the CPU went to 100%. Can I ride across on the bridge? Settlement Mother's
I
Cradle.
won't be this machine in there.
Mount can't enter this location. Alright, let's run. Well, there you have it. Limiting frames is definitely the best option. Limiting to 30 FPS gives you pretty trouble-free performance. Let's quick save. Limiting to 60 FPS seems to work okay too, but you're going to have a few drops in there. But overall, pretty impressive, I think, for a system this old. This game was pretty demanding when it came out. Still a bit of a burden to run, so I'm pretty happy with this performance. Hope this video is useful to you. Thank you for watching.